friends, Flaum here, and today we have got a super quick and easy tutorial to make a necklace. This is great for leftovers. You're going to need chain. I have a couple options I was debating between here. I'm using about 14 inches of chain. You could use much less. You could use much more. Also going to need some beads. This is perfect for leftovers because you can make just a few inches, 4 to 6 inches worth of beads. You can make a lot more. That's up to you. And you're going to need a length of wire. In this case, I am using an 18 gauge gold wire. And of course, your basic jewelry tools, your chain nose pliers, your round nose pliers, and cutters. So very minimal supplies. Depending on the length of necklace, you may also need a clasp. So that's something to consider. Let's go ahead and get started with the round nose pliers. We are going to start at one end. We're going to make a loop. I am going to be wire wrapping. So I'm going to go ahead and make my loop here. And once my loop is made, before I do the wire wrapping, I am going to need to figure out my chain. Now, if you want to connect with a jump ring, you do not have to do this. You could just make your loop, wire wrap, carry on, select your chain, and do the jump ring later. If you want to skip the jump ring and go right to the chain, then this is how you do it. You just get your chain wiggled right on there. All of these supplies are from Jesse James Beads, so you can find all kinds of options there. And once that is on there, you're going to use your pliers to secure and hold your loop, and then wrap your tail of wire around 2 to 3 times. Now, if you are wrapping and you are not happy with how that is going, you can use your pliers to use a second pair of pliers, I should say, to hold and to wrap. A lot of times this will help me get a firmer loop, and you'll see it does kind of usually bend the very end of the wire, but it's honestly one of the greatest tricks that I have learned to help me get really consistent, really controlled. And you'll see I'm moving slowly as well. Wire wraps. Now, once you have wrapped this wire, you'll want to trim the end and then, of course, tuck in any sharp ends. We don't want any sharpness. And then I'm just warming my wire back up, making sure it's good to go. And that also helps, running my fingers along it, helps to make sure it's nice and straight. Then we're going to just slide our beads on in whatever order we would like to do. You could add all kinds of things here if you wanted to do this with, maybe you wanted to use eye pins and use dangles. I mean, you can use whatever you might like. And when we get to the other end, we're going to repeat making our loop, and you can see I'm about halfway down my round nose pliers there to make it just a little larger of a loop versus smaller at the tip. And again, the other end of the chain. And then I am going to go ahead and finish this off by wire wrapping it again with the 2 pairs of pliers, pulling it nice and secure. And I am going to make sure, while I am going to want to get this very close to my beads, I'm not trying to make it as tight as possible, wire wrapped right up to the very edge of the bead, because this is something where we are going to actually be bending this wire once I get this trimmed and set. So I can see there's still some wiggle in my beads. Not a lot, just a little bit. That's just something to consider. We are almost done though. So all we have left to do is we are going to, of course, make sure that we do not have any rough edges of wire poking out, just gently using our tools to ensure that. And then to bend this, I'm just taking my fingers and just very gently putting some curve here. I love to do this. It's using up leftover beads. It's simple. It's fun. The final step is, once I'm happy with everything, happy with the length, finding where the center is. I'm removing this link. And by the way, I 100% will be using that link on something else and just attaching whatever kind of clasp you would like. I'm just using a toggle clasp, again, from Jesse James Beads, and using it there for my necklace, all ready to go. And I hope you enjoyed this super fast, easy tutorial using leftover beads. We'll see you next time.